Suffolk Public Schools, located in Suffolk, Virginia, is a district of 21 schools, 4 high school specialty programs, and serves approximately 14,000 students, delivering excellence in K-12 public education for the past 70 years and beyond. Building the best SPS ensures that all students are equipped with the skills to succeed as productive citizens in a local, national, and global society. Welcome to all of our new listeners out there, as well as those returning. We are excited to kick off Season 2 of our SPS StarCast Podcast. Last year, we started Season 1 by highlighting our National Blue Ribbon School, Northern Shores Elementary, and have celebrated several highlights, recognitions, and had guest speakers on our show since then. Today, we'll kick off Season 2, Episode 2, with none other than our fearless leader and visionary, Superintendent Dr. John B. Gordon III. Dr. Gordon?
Thank you so much for having me. We're so excited about this 22-23 school year, all of the great things that have occurred since we started the original SPS StarCast. And we celebrated in June with close to 1,000 graduates for the class of 2022. We had additional graduates for our summer school graduation took place on August 4th. The SPS Summer Series was outstanding once again. So many individuals and families participated in the SPS Explore, as well as giving students an opportunity for enrichment and remediation during the SPS Summer Series. And now it's time, as of August 1, to transition to the 22-23 school year. So excited with the new Specialty Center program starting at Lakeland High School with the Center for Performing and Production Arts, some additional investments that we put into our school facilities, and we're really excited about welcoming approximately 184 new staff to Team Suffolk.
As you mentioned, as we prepare to open our doors on September 6th, we of course have to address health and safety concerns. In light of recent events around school shootings, health outbreaks, etc., we have a lot of parents and students who have mixed feelings about coming back to school. So can you highlight any new safety or security precautions that SPS has implemented going into this new school year?
Yes, I think I'm going to deal with the active shooter part first. As we know, this was a hot button topic. It's really been that way since the first school shooting that took place in Virginia in 1998. And the reason I know that is because I was actually involved in that first school shooting at Armstrong High School. And one of the things I really want to be able to commend our police department, Chief Chandler, Dr. Rodney Brown, our Chief of Administrative Services, Mr. LaFave, Mr. Boone, is that we put forward some additional steps. We actually had an active shooter drill at Nansemond River High School that the police had put into effect, including making sure that a lot of our protocols were going to be more proactive and be able to put in place. One of the things I had a couple of conversations with some of our city council members about was, once they approved our budget, was to make sure that we do some additional things for school safety. So besides the active shooter drill that we've done, we're also in the process and waiting for some new metal detectors that will only scan for heavy metal and will actually make it a lot more efficient for students and staff to be able to walk through. We're going to be installing those as soon as they arrive. They cost a pretty penny, but when it comes to school safety, of course, keeping kids and staff safe is definitely going to be our first priority.
So, Dr. Gordon, Suffolk Public Schools is the only school division to host those active shooter drills in partnership with the Suffolk Police Department at multiple school locations. Can you share just some of the advantages and benefits that we have from working with the police department at our schools?
Yes, one of the key things about doing any level of drill is you want it to be second nature. And for us to have it at, elementary and high schools, doing it at multiple locations, allows the police department and the team to really learn and to make sure that we're as efficient as we possibly can. And besides the police department having blueprints of our schools, besides us having the ability to have cameras that all of us can log into from any type of remote location, knowing the layout, taking a look at the most efficient way to not only get into the building, but also to secure the building is going to be key. And for us to be able to do that at multiple locations, we thought was one of the things that was going to put Suffolk Public Schools ahead of the game. And as we expand this active shooter drill next year to really include all of our emergency services teams, we think it's going to be a great opportunity to learn. As we switch gears to bringing our kids back to school, one of the big changes that the CDC put in place was the number of days necessary for quarantine. And a lot of that's still going to depend on if you're experiencing symptoms, if you're vaccinated, et cetera. But it's really going to be 5 days if there are any symptoms that are being shown, and then 5 days returning back with the mask. And so we want to make sure that both staff and students improving our attendance rate this year is a key focus for us. We need to make sure that all of our kids are there 95% of the time. We need to make sure that all of our kids test at the end of the year, 95% of them. And so increasing that staff and student attendance, especially on the staff side, we think that's going to be one of the missing pieces when it comes to student achievement. Having staff being there every day will also relax the burden of staff having to cover other classes because the quarantine days are shorter. And I also got to make sure that we mention that, monkeypox is now the new thing that we are concerned with. And so the CDC recently put out some guidelines. We're going to have some more information on our website under our health and safety protocols. Our nursing coordinator, Sarah Williford, has done a tremendous job of making sure that she communicates those expectations to us, as well as making sure that everyone is aware of the symptoms. So check our website in the coming weeks as some new information will be presented there.
Awesome. Now, just like many other school divisions across the nation, we are faced with challenges. A lot of those you've already touched on. However, another major one is teacher vacancy. Can you share any hiring opportunities for those who may be interested in joining Team Suffolk?
Yes, our hiring window is going to really stay open for the entire year, and we're really expecting the next major influx probably will be in December for any December graduates. Right now, we have started our Career Pathways program where we can really grow your own in Suffolk that allows folks that are already with us the opportunity to really grow in their career. That just means additional certifications, degrees, things of that nature that allows them to take the next step on their journey. Our Human Resources Department, led by Ms. Avery, is also taking a look at all of our long-term subs and putting information into the Virginia Department of Education to determine their eligibility for a full-time teacher's license. We think being able to keep our folks here, including our student teachers that many times we offer contracts to try to lock them in, will be a great way for us to really minimize some of the vacancies that we have. So our window is going to definitely be open for the entire year. We just recently had our new teacher orientation, as I mentioned earlier, where we had 184 new staff members, new instructional staff members that attended. We know that we also have new bus drivers. We know we have new paraprofessionals. We know we have new cafeteria workers. This is one of the things that the economists have called the Great Resignation. We are right in the middle of it, as many people decided to retire early, especially when they determined that the change in their money really wasn't going to be a big deal between this year and last year. And I also really want to thank a lot of our recent retirees who decided to come back because they love Suffolk Public Schools. They love Team Suffolk. They came back to help us out in any capacity that we needed. But please continue to check our website for our vacancies. Contact the Human Resources Department, Ms. Avery, Ms. Whiting, Ms. Griffin. Those are the three main people to talk to. We are still looking to fill some vacancies that we have here in Team Suffolk.
Thank you. Now, how can one contact the Human Resources Department directly?
Yeah, first thing I would definitely do would be go to our website to determine the current vacancies we have. And you'll see on our website it says employment opportunities. But you can also call our main number of 757-925-6750 and ask for the Human Resources Department. I got to be honest and say, when it comes to instructional staff, there is a backlog right now at the Department of Education because all 133 school divisions in the state have a lot of new staff that are coming in. So getting those licenses processed is usually about an 8 to 12 week process. This also includes for fingerprinting and things of that nature. So there's still some steps that we have to go through. But the Department of Education is working with us, the licensure department, making sure that things have been verified at the college and university level. And we want to also make sure that we have the right fits here in Suffolk Public Schools. We're not going to hire anyone. Right? It takes a lot to make sure that we can trust you to put you in front of our kids and to become members of our family. But if you have a love for children, if you keep students first, you are exactly the type of person that we're looking for. And we've done some great things like making sure that our long-term sub rate of $232 a day, I believe is the highest in the region. We've increased teacher pay by 19% over the last 3 years. We're going to continue to make sure that we make Suffolk Public Schools payment scales and employment opportunities really competitive with Region 2.
Awesome. Now, I want to switch gears just a little bit and get into your community engagement initiatives, specifically the Community Leadership Program. Can you tell us just a little bit more about this opportunity for local businesses and volunteer partners to get more involved with the school division?
The interesting part, this actually was a brainstorm that came during our Suffolk Takes Over the Zoo. And I have to give a shout out to J.T. Taylor, Dr. Shalice Taylor, the principal of Florence Bowser Elementary School's husband, because he pulled me aside. He says, what you're doing here, what the school division is doing here has never been done, where you're actually not only engaging the staff, but you're engaging their families and you're engaging the community by having one featured event that brings everyone together. He said this is community leadership. And when he said it, it was like stars and bells went off in my head, because I was like, this is exactly what we're going to call this program. So we're really looking for our community to get involved. But not only are we looking for them to get involved, we're looking for them to become leaders in partnering with the school division. And a lot of our schools already had some great partnership with businesses and with specific volunteers. But we also noticed there was a lack of uniformity when it came to the structure of the process. So there's several different layers that we're looking at. The first one that we've actually pretty much kicked off already is our mentoring and tutoring opportunities. And that really ties into our local faith leaders. I had a meeting with the SEMA group, Suffolk Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, about 2 weeks ago. And we talked about having our churches really serve as the home base, so to speak, throughout our school community to mentor and tutor our kids. And there will have to be a background check for the mentoring piece, but we're looking for group activities where I know in congregations we have former or current educators. We have experts in math, reading, writing, etc., that can really help to give our kids an extra layer of support. And this also includes providing some support and structure to parents to help them understand what it's like to be the parent of an elementary, middle, or high schooler. But we also want to really open up that mentoring piece where our churches would be able to mentor our kids, show them proper etiquette, just being a positive role model. We think that was going to be really important because we didn't want everything to really always fall back on the school division. If we're serious about growing our youth here in the city of Suffolk, we knew this had to be really a community entire project to get everyone involved. The second piece is really about the financial support. And we have different tiers, blue, gold, silver, et cetera, where businesses can actually formally support Suffolk Public Schools. And this would mean that you would actually be part of every program, every announcement at sports games, extracurricular activities, events, et cetera. Your business logo would be on our website. And this is our way of actually just bringing some uniformity to it, as I mentioned earlier, where depending on what tier you are, you would get free passes to games, you would have announcements during the games, you would actually get some SPS gear, et cetera. But it's not just the money that we're looking at. We're also looking at the in-kind component where businesses, we're asking for you to be able to provide our kids with internships, provide them with work experience. I know Mr. Skinner and Ms. Burgess in our CTE department are always looking for opportunities to give our kids some real life experiences. And we think that doing that with the in-kind partnerships is something that's been missing. And the only reason it's been missing is because COVID-19, we really couldn't risk sending our kids out to get some of that hands-on experience. So that in-kind commitment we think is going to be really special. We think that's a great opportunity for our businesses to really support our kids. And last but not least, if you do become a member of this community leadership and our partners in education, et cetera, then this also means that we're going to steer approximately 2,400 employees to you. When you're looking for a mechanic, when you're looking for a doctor, when you're looking for a car, whatever it may be, because you partner with SPS, we're going to say, these are the people that you need to go see. For your services here within the city of Suffolk, these are the companies and businesses that you go see. And as we all know, Suffolk Public Schools is the largest employer in the city of Suffolk. So those are some of the things that we're really looking to do with this community leadership program. We have several meetings that are coming up. I know that I have some other church meetings that are coming forward. I know Mr. Waller, our school board attorney, has really helped us out tremendously with his religious background and his network of putting in some contacts, and Ms. Dickens here is actually going to be our primary contact for that. So if you are a business that's interested in becoming a part of the community leadership, please contact Ms. Antoinette Dickens.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. Now, sticking with community engagement, recently our division just held a community bus tour. How did that go?
This was an outstanding opportunity, especially with so many new staff members and family members to Team Suffolk, for them to see what our school community is like, see how our kids are living, to actually go out into the neighborhoods. And with the different routes and all of us being present, we had an opportunity to see our staff engage with the kids. And this is also a great way to get our kids and our families excited about that first day of school. I mean, that first day of school is going to be here before you know it. This is something that we really wanted to do last year, but again, because of COVID-19, we didn't think it was a good idea. But anytime you have an opportunity to take the staff to the community, this was a chance that we couldn't pass up. And thank you to Mr. Privet and the entire transportation team for making this happen.
Absolutely. I know a lot of times teachers don't get the opportunity to see where their students are coming from. So definitely a great way to give our staff a different perspective on who they have in their classrooms.
You know, we also had a feature at our last board meeting on Turlington Wood School, which is our alternative school. And a lot of times alternative schools, of course, get a bad rap because students are being placed there for multiple reasons. And the most prominent is a violation of the Student Code of Conduct. But the great job that Mr. Kinsey Bynum and his entire team has done actually has allowed several students that want to stay there because it's less distractions, it's smaller class sizes, it's more one-on-one support. And we featured one of our students, Kyra, who came in, was short a lot of credits. And I believe she got 17 credits done in 15 months. And she actually graduated as a part of our summer school graduation on August 4th. In my conversations with Mr. Bynum, I think he's going to start out with about 60 plus kids this year. And most of the time kids go there for 9 weeks. Sometimes kids are there for a semester. But this is really a second chance. Like, just because a kid makes one mistake, we do not want their entire life to be ruined. We're not going to just back off of supporting them. And a lot of times the incentive is to return to their comprehensive school. A lot of times the incentive is to graduate. But the first incentive for all these kids is to get their life back on track. So Mr. Bynum and his entire team has built great relationships with those students. If you want to know more about Turlington Woods School, please go to our SPS YouTube page and you'll search Turlington Woods or video and it'll be right there.
Talk about some of the things parents can expect to see for this upcoming school year. You touched a little bit on our Center for Performance and Production Arts. Can you go deeper into this one for us?
Yeah. So before I get to the CPPA, this parent involvement piece is a major focus for the school division this year. Partners in Education, Proactive Parents. If you go to our website now under Community and Leadership, ladies and gentlemen, you will see tips that we are giving all parents for every grade level. And it's a huge focus on the transition grades. And we're not just talking about, pre-K to K. We're talking about second to third, because third grade is the first year you take testing. 5th to 6th for that transition from elementary school to middle school. 8th to 9th for that transition from middle school to high. And of course, 12 until, we call that the 13th year, to really get parents understanding about the different options that seniors will have, if it's college, going into the workforce, or going into the military. And so sometimes it's things that we take for granted. Like at the elementary level, parents, we want you to read with or read to your kids every night. High school parents, just because they're in high school now does not mean that you no longer have to be involved. Go to the games, join the PTAs, join the booster clubs. I mean, these are things that we're looking for. And we're also opening up the volunteer process. And the volunteer process, we're still going to be kind of careful with it. We're going to streamline some things, may not necessarily have a parent volunteer in every classroom like we used to in the elementary days until our COVID numbers come out of the red. But there's still chances for you to really be involved in the schools. And we know, in looking at our climate and culture survey data from last year, that was an area that declined. And we understood that because we had to make sure that we kept health and safety first. And we did have some situations where, we had some parents that came into the building, they tested positive. Then we had to quarantine both staff and students because of that. You had mentioned the Center for Performing and Production Arts. This is our newest specialty center, ladies and gentlemen, at Lakeland High School. And I'm really specific about putting that production part first. There's several centers for performing arts around the state as well as around the country, but there's very few, if any, that really focus on the production side. And one of the things that we really talked about is really getting our kids to understand that you actually make more money behind the camera than you do in front of it. So we've invested a lot of money in Lakeland High School. We have about 40 to 45 students that would be part of this first cohort that are coming through. We have brand new sound booths that have been installed, new software. I mean, the visuals of what our kids are going to be able to do, a lot of computer science on there, some coding that definitely takes place. And then starting this spring, probably early summer, we're also going to redo, renovate, remodel, whatever you want to call it, Lakeland High School's auditorium. If we're going to have this state-of-the-art new specialty center program, the CPPA, we're also going to make sure that we have a state-of-the-art auditorium to go along with it. And Ms. Forsman, Mr. Hines, Mr. Napier, the entire team has put a lot of time and effort into it. New principal over there, Ms. Lori White, is so excited about this new program, our latest specialty center. And we think this is going to be something that's going to be great. We've had some past partnerships with Pharrell Williams, which kind of helped to spark some of this idea. And giving these kids this opportunity for not only tech theater, but also just music production, et cetera, is going to really open up some different avenues and getting our kids more chances to see exactly how the entertainment industry works, how the music field works behind the scenes. It was an opportunity we couldn't pass out. So CPPA is here. When we have our specialty center night in October, we're going to feature that program. It's going to be held at Lakeland High School. This is something that you don't want to miss.
So this year, Dr. Gordon, our student athletes can look forward to some new facility changes out on the field. Can you share some of that with us?
Yeah, I'm a real big believer in making sure that all of our facilities are top of the line and world class. And I also am a big believer in making sure that our kids get involved in school. And doing that really lays to kids participating in extracurricular activities. And over the last year or so, we've actually invested millions of dollars into our athletic facilities, including replacing all of our tracks and opening up our brand new turf field at Lakeland High School. We've already had a field hockey game that took place on the field, and it's outstanding. I mean, it's just so beautiful. I've seen drone shots of it. I was out there for the final walkthroughs, and it took a little longer than we expected because of some of the supply chain issues. And right now, we've actually started the process to replace Nansemond Rivers Field, and Kings Forks Field. We'll start that late spring, early summer of next year. So we will have turf fields at all three of our high schools. We have brand new floors in our gymnasiums. We have brand new tracks. We're really taking the time to really invest in our school facilities and invest in our students, and keeping them involved in those extracurricular activities allows them to really focus on school. And it also keeps the school community excited about the athletic programs at the schools too.
We also have some new changes coming for staff as well, because we've resurfaced a few parking lots at some of our buildings, correct?
Yes. I mean, and some of that is because of safety. A lot of that's because of also appearance and the timeline. I mean, Mr. Napier's team, we use almost all of our preventive and maintenance money to take care of parking lots, to take care of HVAC, to take care of roof replacement. I mean, these are things that really had to occur in our schools. And you can see the new asphalt, the new blacktop being put down, the fresh, bright white lines, et cetera. I mean, continuing to replace those parking lots allows all of our students and staff to not only be able to use them safely, but also really makes the school look a lot better as well.
So all in all, with the new parking lots, the turf fields, and the window wraps, our buildings are looking good. Our buildings are looking really good. The branding and marketing thing is something we started a couple of years ago. Any funds that we raise from community leadership will go right back into branding and marketing so that the schools will have budget lines for that. And I've always been a big believer that you can really keep your school community excited about the school. That first impression, that first appearance is key. And when you're pulling up, driving up, walking up, seeing that are the things that really keep our students excited. And that's going to continue to be a focus for Suffolk Public Schools moving forward. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. You've shared a wealth of information with us today, and we are excited. I'm excited, and we can tell that you're excited, and your staff is excited as well to kick off this new school year. So thank you. We know you're a very busy man, but we thank you for taking the time out to join us today, and we thank those out there for listening. Stay tuned for Season 2, Episode 2, coming to a streaming platform near you.